All right, all right, all right. It's Friday night. Rare Friday night. I don't really do Friday nights unless it's a Friday night howl, and I haven't done that in a while. You remember the good old Friday night howls on the Mindset podcast. Just a few shouts to the people in chat. Hey, Dazzy, how are you? Steven, Louise, Mark Urbex, Explore with Gav, how are you, buddy? Jeff, Exploring Harley, Mark C. Shays, how are you? Steve O. What's going on, Steve O? Steven. And whoever else is lurking in chat. Anyways, how's it going, guys? Everybody doing well? Yeah, it was, and I'm about to go on vacay again for 2 weeks. I'm gone for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So I'll be exploring for 2 weeks. And hopefully, hey Max, how are you? And probably get some nice content. Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. You brought me up. Right.
I brought you up, sir. Hey, Mick. I was just telling everyone I'm off for 2 weeks, and I'm going to be doing a lot of exploring. A lot of exploring. It's funny. I was down in New York State last week, and I'm telling you, the so many places in these small little towns that I think you would have a field day with, Matt.
Mm.
historic buildings just laying dialect, just laying there, ready for the picking. It's and historic.
Yeah, sounds good. It's a shame I'm not out in the States.
Yeah.
Stakes
Yeah.
are a bit higher getting into abandoned buildings over there, though, because you can get in trouble for it.
Yeah, I saw a lot of like a few places that I went to. I didn't really, I didn't want to get burnt while I was down there, but I did a little bit of scouting, if you will. And yeah, you should see the amount of no trespassing, trespassers will be prosecuted, and all sorts of wonderful, signage going, yeah, don't enter, and I mean, you guys have that. I mean, you guys have that, no trespassing, private property, all that kind of crap, right?
You have all that, but I mean, it's not enforceable because trespass isn't illegal. So,
Yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't want to have to spend the night in jail down there.
yeah. But I think in the United States, it kind of is, so, yeah, don't fancy that getting into trouble.
No, and it's a shame though. It's but I've followed a couple channels here on YouTube, and the amount of places that a lot of these guys go into, like they were in the Rochester old subway subway tunnels, and they were pretty cool. And I don't think those things have been in service since the 70s. They were built in the 40s, I believe.
Mm.
So yeah, beautiful, like beautiful tunnels, and the station stops are, hey, they're still not in bad shape. I mean, obviously, years of wear and tear, but I mean, they're still pretty cool. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I would imagine there's some quite historic stuff down there, really, looking like blast from the past. What over 100 years old, maybe, or something.
Yeah, some of them it's like time capsule. Like you go into some of these houses and it's like they just got up and left.
Mm.
And it's been there for like 40, 50, 60 years or whatever, and you're like, what the hell? Wow, this is
Yeah,
cool. This is cool. Um, yeah, it's the same here in Canada. You get burned bad here in Canada for trespassing. I mean, you can kind of weasel your way out of it, but for the most part, it's yeah, they kind of don't take too kindly to it. But I mean, there's a lot of urbexers here that really do a lot of really cool stuff. I'm a lot of them are pretty cool and say, look at I'm just in here, taking some photos. I'm not stealing anything. I'm not, destroying anything. I'm just literally just taking photos. I'm respecting it, even though there's nobody living here or whatever. I'm not, trashing it, So I don't know.
And hope for the best. Hope they don't arrest you.
Exactly. Hey, Phil, how are you? Good to see you. Sorry to hear about Phased, man. Phased escape room had some flooding, and they're looking for a little bit of help there to get them back on their feet. Phil, we'll have to have you on the show to maybe prop up some awareness for you, buddy. That's sad to hear that. Yeah, it's. I mean, what you've done some, tube stations, haven't you, before?
I'm just trying to think now. No.
No.
I don't,
Wow.
No, I haven't. I did a pay for thing on a part of the London Underground, which was for the mail rail.
Yeah.
But that was about it. Yeah.
Are they hard to get into?
I'm not sure, to be honest. You can get tours to go to some of the ones in London that are off limits.
Yeah.
So it might be easier to just do that rather than. I'm a bit squeamish about buggering about with those electric rails.
Oh yeah. You gotta watch yourself with that crap. I mean, I know here, like our subway system's horrible. It's just like, it's small. It's like you figure after so many years they'd have a better system, but there's still like I think there's 2 stations that they haven't used in literally 50 years at least, and it's really cool getting into them. And again, yeah, it's like a time capsule. It's like, it stands still. Wow, this is cool. Like it was, the 1970s, all over again. And it's really, really cool to find that kind of stuff. But then once it's out there, and I guess, it's like that there. I mean, there's places that once it's been, unveiled, somebody's done it. It's like, okay, everybody else is in there. I mean, I guess, I mean, what's a popular place over there that everybody's done it to death?
Well, I suppose the London bunkers have been done by a lot of people now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them hadn't been filmed, as far as I'm aware, prior to us doing them. But then, everyone and his brothers have gone to them now. So I suppose that's one. I don't know, really. The ones that have been done the most, I suppose there's the anechoic chamber at Pie Stock. A lot of people went down to have a look at that because it was quite easy to get into.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, I mean, and it seems like, because I don't know what it is. Like I watch I follow a lot of people here, not so much in Canada, but in the US. But it seems to be a lot more in the UK, a lot more exploring in the UK, urbexing in the UK. Is that, I don't know. Do you find that? I mean, being over there in the UK, because I mean, here, I mean, there are urbexers, but I mean, it doesn't seem to be as popular here as it is over there, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know what the scale of American kind of stuff is, because I just focus mostly on looking on UK stuff at the moment to see what other people have done. But I also just, most of the time, because I don't watch many videos from other people unless somebody's pointed a video out to me and said, "Oh, watch this." I don't watch a lot of other urbex videos. And I don't know whether it's a conscious or a subconscious decision to kind of not want to try and copy directly what somebody else has done, but try and look for something new.
Yeah.
And then I might go and do something, but it's kind of because I've wanted to do it and somebody suggested it to me. And then once I've done it, then I realize, oh, somebody else has done that as well. And I kind of realize afterwards more what these places are about. And I do like to go into them sight unseen, so I don't exactly know what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
I
mean, do you find though, like, some of these people that have gone into the places, some of the places that you've gone into, but they may not be covering it as sort of thorough as maybe you are, or
Yeah.
that you think it could be covered.
Yeah, because people do their cuts, don't they? They cut, from scene to scene. And yeah, I like to show people the whole thing. I think it gives a much better impression of the scale. And, if you cut, when I watch other people's videos, I'm always thinking, oh wow, this must be so big, so much bigger. And when I get there, it's kind of like it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. And it's because you don't have an idea of the total time it takes to get through the whole thing. But yeah, I suppose jumps into my mind, one of the places nearby, I think it's got to be one of the ones that more people that I've ever met, I've said, have you done this one? And they've all done it. Everybody's done it, is in Bath, and it's the Monkton Farley Sidings Tunnel.
Okay.
And because it's so easy to find, so easy to get to, and up until they put a palisade spiky fence around it, which somebody's ripped off, somebody's ripped it open. So that's a hell of a lot of use that was. It's such an easy one to do, and everybody's done it. I think that's probably, I'd have to guess, the most visited one that I know of.
Yeah, I mean it. I think I would have a field day over there. Like I said, I mean, with the especially like following you and the places that you've been to, and some of the other urbexers that are closely related, associated. I mean, speaking of that, you have some. Is it this weekend, urbex? Is it Urbageddon? Tomorrow night. Yeah, that's right. So that's cool. See,
that 1 pint I'm having tonight, and
yeah, that'd be something I would, if I was there, I'd love to definitely attend. Last year seemed like a really, really good time that you guys had last year. And it's John's not heading it up though this year, is he?
No, he's going to be there, but he's not organized it. It's Melissa Jones Paranormal.
Yep.
So who might even be in the chat? I don't know. I haven't seen her yet. But,
I haven't seen her. No. Yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome.
Gaz is going to be there. Charles, his missus, is going to be there.
Yeah.
So quite a few people are going to be there. Tell us in the chat if you're going to be there, because
say something in chat. So the location that you guys had last year was pretty cool. I mean, is it something you guys couldn't get this year, or like it was? Do you know anything about that? Because I mean that was pretty cool. Yeah, exactly. Gareth, Abandoned and Forgotten Whales is going to be there, right?
Yeah,
Gareth.
Yeah. There was no problem with the venue. We could have used it again, and it was certainly a good venue.
Yeah,
and very close to where you could walk from there to plenty of hotels and things nearby, and so it was certainly a good location. We'll have to see what people say about this one, because we haven't really seen it. I think it's kind of sight unseen.
Yeah,
what it's going to be like. So it could be really good, or it could be the back room of a pub. Like I really don't know.
And I mean, the prices of hotels are ridiculous now. Are insane.
Yeah.
Are insane.
You're lucky if you can get something for like £50 a night, which is,
and that's roughly about $100 Canadian. Roughly, So that's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's like everything in the UK.
Yeah. Well, it's not cheap here. It's pretty expensive as well here. I know that. And I even when we were down in the US last week, I couldn't believe it. Even though our dollar sucks and the exchange, but the prices that they pay, even though the cost of living was so much cheaper down there, it's like literally like insane what they're paying now. So I mean, you're definitely not gonna, if me being Canadian, you're not gonna buy the same thing down there, because it doesn't make sense, because you're gonna be paying plus exchange, on par. It's crazy. So hey Ollie, hey Dylan, how are you? Yeah, so I don't know, But so how long is this Urbageddon supposed to go for? And everybody's what, doing like a guest speaking sort of thing?
It's open to it's very on the fly, really.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that Dark Arts Paranormal is going to bring his CDJ setup, his laptop, and he's going to do like a live bit of music mixing.
Okay.
So he's going to do that. We will have a microphone handy, so if somebody wants to say something, they can.
He was just in the U.S. as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I noticed he was just over in Gettysburg. I think
Right.
Jeff and Exploring Harley, I think, was they met up in Gettysburg there a couple of weeks ago or something like that. Yeah, he does a pretty good job. I enjoy his channel. I enjoy it, and you can tell. You can tell he puts a lot of effort into it. He really, really does. I mean, he does a pretty good job. So Dark Arts.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little bit, I don't know. Well, it's a lot of it, obviously paranormal, but there just seems he kind of shifts it around, because I noticed a while ago he was doing something on UFOs as well, which was pretty cool.
I didn't see that. I didn't know he'd done that.
No, I didn't know. Apparently, it was like the first time or something, and he went all the way to was it Louisiana or Tennessee? Tennessee, maybe. He was in Florida, and they traveled up to Tennessee, and someplace in Tennessee. I can't remember the guy's name that they met, and there was apparently like a hot spot for UFOs, and yeah, pretty cool. That's a lot of traveling, though. But like I said, he definitely puts a lot in. So, I mean, do you? Hey Barry, how are you? Do you do much UFO stuff anymore?
I've been swearing I'm going to do some more stuff, and I've asked somebody would they come on as a guest next week, so it may start to happen. I'd like to get the ball rolling on it, because it's something that's very close to my heart, all the UFO research, and I haven't really done a hell of a lot over the last few years with it. So yeah, but we have been shooting footage and interviewing witnesses for something that I'm going to produce, like a documentary on UFOs. So we are going to get around to doing that. It's going to be local witnesses in the Wiltshire area, people we've spoken to who had sightings over the years. So we're going to put it all together, and we're going to do like the standard style documentary, which is kind of like cutting back and forth and things like that. And then what I'll do is I'll put out the whole interviews unedited as well, so people can sort of see them as they were shot, which not many other people do this. Like boy
I know.
It makes perfect sense, because I think the best stuff is always ends up on the cutting room floor, or the things that matter to me may not be the things that matter to somebody else.
Exactly.
And, so when you finished your documentary, James Fox and all these, Jeremy Corbell, put out the interviews.
Yeah.
Put them out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Matt. I mean, I like to show everything. I like to, there's needs for cuts here and there, but I mean, for the most part, an interview, or like I say, an excerpt that you cut for, say, an episode or a documentary or something, if it's interesting enough, it didn't make the cut, but throw it out there as like, an outtake or whatever. Like, exactly, an interview.
I mean, some of the more sincere moments as well, and just seeing, how people are acting, when the camera's not on them, when you're sort of like setting up the shots or whatever. That's when sometimes little conversations happen, which are quite good. I mean, for example, take like Bob Lazar. He was filmed for a documentary, and I bet most of I would say like 90% of what was filmed never made it into the documentary. I want to see it.
Yeah. It's like the footage too. Some of the footage that these guys release. So, it'll go viral, but only a piece of it goes viral. You want to see the whole thing. You want to, like, they might release like say a minute or two of the footage. And the overall footage could be like, say 5, 7, 10 minutes, whatever. It's too long. Just cut it down, cut to the most important part. But I want to see the whole thing. I want to see how this plays out.
Yeah. I think it worked really well for the Circle Makers documentary I put out, because somebody did like a short form documentary with cut, and it was very cleverly edited, and it was very neat and polished, but it had interviews with these people, and I thought, well, I want to know what they're saying. So I knew the guy who did it, and I approached him and said, look, can I see your raw footage, your raw interviews? And he said, yeah. So he lent me the tapes, and I had a look at them, and I said, this is dynamite. I mean, why didn't you put some of this stuff in? He's just like, wow, and it's like, no, this stuff's really good. So that's when I put all the interviews without cuts of these people and just put it together as a thing called Circle Makers. And I think it's probably, did the most service to those people who gave those interviews, because you really get to see the way their mind's working from question to question, which is why I like things like Joe Rogan as well, long form, because
long form,
you get to know the person well, and how they react to a question. Do they have to think about it? Do they, how do they manage to get around it? It's kind of, you don't just want the soundbite, which is what TV programs just do: soundbite, like a machine gun of sound bites.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do you find, like, because you've dabbled in a lot of stuff. I mean, crop circles, UFOs, the paranormal, and urbexing, and I mean, what do you find out of it all that seems like to be the most interesting, that people find the most interesting coming from you, like what you provide? Like, I mean, is it the crop circles? Is it the the urbexing? Is it the UFO stuff? I mean, because you have obviously a long-standing following, because of, I mean, you've been doing this since what, the early 80s, the late 80s, early 90s sort of thing, right?
Yeah, well, I started getting heavily involved in it in 1991, which is sort of when I had my sighting, and then I was writing for magazines and doing things, and you end up on television because there was no internet really to speak of back then, and you end up doing like television interviews, and people get to know you quite well because television goes a long way. A lot of people see it, but ultimately, I would say in terms of what I've done that's been successful for me publishing it, UFOs was probably like a drop in the ocean. Crop circles, another drop in the ocean, and the urbex thing has been probably the most successful thing I've got involved in. Because most of it's filmed. It's kind of hard to film making circles in the dark when you're out there and it's damp, and you don't want to get the cameras damp. You kind of like. You need to have somebody specifically there to film it and to try and film it all night. And it's not going to be interesting, seeing figures just wandering around holding a tape, and, sort of, it's kind of, to a lot of people, it's not going to make much sense. We could have filmed it long form, and I think we tried to as much as we could in some respects. I used to say to my friend, like, keep rolling, like when he was doing it, but there was limited battery life, so he's only going to get an hour, and a crop circle is going to take like 4 hours maybe to make. And then you've got, the walk, the walk to the crop circle, and the walk away from the crop circle is usually quite a thing as well, because it's like, that's quite a long part of doing a crop circle, getting there and getting out, so. But I always had big plans to kind of like set up something so we could look down on the crop circle and then time lapse it so you could see us making it, but we never got around to doing it.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, and what about drone footage? I mean, is that possible?
Well, I did. I took a drone out at night to photograph a couple of crop circles, and you
Mhm.
just put it. It was you can do it on a long exposure, like a 30-second exposure, and the drone is so stable that
Yeah,
it would actually produce like a very bright image taken at night with no lights.
yeah.
And you could actually do that, but only with photography, not with video. Video, no, you need specialist stuff like infrared, or maybe thermal, but I mean, that's so expensive. Those bloody
Mm,
drones are
yeah,
ridiculously expensive.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's yeah. I mean, that would be so fascinating. And then, I mean, when you're editing it, time lapse it, and to see the progression of that circle step by step over. I mean, if you're a basic circle, I mean, approximately how much time would it take to build up like a basic circle sort of thing?
Well, a simple circle, we could do it in like maybe 15, 20 minutes, sort
Really?
of like,
Yeah,
something simple, like you say, a simple circle. But it's once you
yeah.
start to, you have to measure geometries to kind of like put lines in, and
Hmm.
and then that's where you build things up. It depends on the complexity of the circle. If it's a simple one, might get it done in an hour,
Oh
you
wow.
know,
Okay. Yeah.
but you scale things up. I mean, a lot of it is actually getting the measurements and putting lines in, and then once you've got everything in place, then you say, right, everyone flatten, and they're flattening it. Then that happens fairly quickly and over a large scale area. So from a time lapse point of view, I would imagine that it would be just like lots of people walking around all the time and nothing really happening.
Yeah.
It's just loads and loads of this, and then all of a sudden it'd just be like, it's all of a sudden it just like appears, at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that it would be fascinating. I mean, that's something I've never obviously experienced or witnessed. So, I mean, it'd be pretty fascinating to watch or to be a part of, sort of thing. So, um, and again, I know you're kind of
He's gonna
mentioning.
he's gonna ask me to make a crop circle when he comes to the UK, isn't he? I really like, yeah.
But
Can't stand doing them now. It's like, uh,
Uh, do you find now that, after doing it for so long, so many
oh,
years ago, it's like, "Ah, no, I shouldn't have been doing it. I shouldn't have been out late like that. I should have been, I'm feeling it now, man, my bones." Because you're there overnight. You're in early hours of the morning, and you're, like, literally, I mean, is there a proper setting to do that circle properly? I mean, does it have to be wet? Does it have to be damp? Like, I mean,
no, dry is better. If it's
yeah,
damp, then you're going to be walking through damp crop, and it's going to get on your legs, and that's going to get you colder. I mean, sometimes it starts to rain, and then you get really wet, and it you know it can be a challenge, to kind of keep yourself motivated in some respects. But the motivation is you're there with your friends, and you don't want to let each other down, so you're all putting your effort in, and you try not to grumble, and
yeah,
that it's got a paranormal element to it, that
mhm,
there's a bigger thing going on. So you kind of go, look, I'm doing this for the greater good, and I'm doing this for something special, so people can have an experience in it. Hopefully we have an experience in it. So you're taking part in that. And I think the only time you kind of really get to appreciate it is after you've gone home, had a sleep, and woken up the next day and got a bit more energy back in. And then you kind of go, oh, that was good. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah. At the time that you're doing it, you haven't got much time to kind of think about, are you enjoying it or not, because you're keeping yourself quite busy.
yeah,
um, and it's very boring for those people who come who haven't got much to do, because they're waiting for you to finish lining it out before they can start. It is very boring waiting on the edges like that. I mean, which is why you try to get different. Even though you're using one person to do a line, you'll say, "Oh, you come now and do a line," just to keep people from being bored. So it's kind of, you try to keep the interest levels up, but it is it's a hard thing to do, really. You know, and you're asking a lot of people. You know, you're asking a lot to go out that late at night and take part in something like that. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, how many people approximately would you need?
it's usually a minimum of 3 to do any particular design. You need 3.
Yeah.
You know, like you can get away with 2 if it's a simple design, but it's usually 3. But you want maybe 3 or 4, you know, just for the final flattening. I'd say your average team might be 4 people.
And I mean, these are people that you kind of assume, or that you'd like have this kind of crew that kind of knows their place, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're going to bring somebody out and go, okay, hey, I need you to do that, because they're like, how do you do that, sort of thing? So it slows things down.
To a degree, I mean, people can be trained up fairly quickly on what they're meant to be doing, but when they're new, you will probably have somebody walking with them to make sure they don't fuck up, because they'll make a lot of the classic mistakes, or they'll just be sort of lazily thinking, oh, that's all I got to do is walk along here, and they're not taking notice of the fact they're just about to go out of the point where they were meant to stop, and they're going to carry on, and they're going to be wandering off and creating a line into nowhere, you know, which is what they shouldn't have done. So you kind of have to catch people making the mistake, and then say, stop, because look where you're coming up to. And they go, oh yeah. And you see how subtle it is. So you kind of got to be you can't just be walking. You've got to be looking,
yeah,
and trying to kind of make sure you don't cross those points. And when you do and you're not sure, call somebody, and then we work out, do you go on beyond that point or not? You know, and you kind of that's kind of like how you have to start with people, because they do make mistakes. Most people I've known who've gone out have made mistakes. I mean, even I've made mistakes. You know, being fairly experienced, just being too cavalier about, you know, what you're doing, and you make mistakes, and then you have to correct them. So yeah.
Have you ever stumbled upon anyone else doing one?
The closest we came to actually bumping into somebody in the field who was making with us was when we did 2 designs in the east field.
Yeah.
And we did a serpent, which was kind of swirling like that down, like as a serpent.
Yeah.
And the head of the serpent was to the top end of the field. And if we'd walked a little bit further beyond the head, somebody was there doing like a totem pole coming down the field, and it's like the totem pole practically touched the head of the, and we didn't know the other team was there.
Wow, that would have been crazy.
Yeah. And in the morning, we were both like, what the fuck? And the thing is, we'd both chosen the same tram line in the field, and the head of the serpent was pointing at the tail of the other thing. That's how close it was, you know. I mean, it really was. You know, somebody said during the night, they said, what's that noise? And you said, oh, it's probably just a deer, because they could hear something moving around in the crop. That might well have been the other team.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But what about people sneaking in and, hey, okay, I know these guys are going to be here doing this, and filming you guys? Have you ever had that?
I haven't, but there was a guy called, he was an American Indian guy, Rod Bear Cloud, I think his name was. And he wandered into a field, the East Field again, because it's one of the famous fields for crop circles. He wandered in when they were making a circle, and he actually did bump into the people making the circle. And, you know, it could have gone either way with his kind of like attitude towards crop circles, where, you know, like, oh, this is amazing, people can't do this sort of stuff, and there he is wandering in and catching some people doing it, you know. So I think they said to him, I said, well, do you want to just stay and watch us finish, you know? And we kind of like, and it's better to keep him there, because you can kind of make sure he's not like calling anyone to bring them in, you know. It's kind of like, it's better to keep him there rather than kind of let him wander off, because the next thing he might be telling people, you know, like, oh, they're making a circle down there, and then 10 people will be down there, you know. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Mm.
He's on social media going, hey guys, I'm right here on the scene. I'm about to make a crop circle. You want to come down and help us out? Yeah. And obviously nowadays doing crop circles, I mean, you have to be extremely quiet, right? I mean, you have to be with social media and everything else. And I mean, if you want to,
yeah, online, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, not out in the field. It's surprising how much noise you can make when you're stomping around. But the actual stomping the crop makes like
yeah,
a swishing sound,
yeah,
and it's weird because it's like white noise,
yeah,
and it blends in with the sounds, the natural sounds that are around,
yeah,
and you don't tend to hear. I mean, people, doing the stomping bit, you don't tend to hear it. It just blends in. But if you speak, or if a phone rings, that goes a massive distance.
yeah,
People go
yeah,
like, oh, who's in that field there? But stomp, 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 stomp. Nobody hears you in there. But if you go, John, somebody will go, I just heard somebody up there.
yeah.
But you've been stomping for hours and they didn't hear you. But it's the one word or a whistle or anything like that, and that's it. People definitely know you're up there. But that's why we would go, psst, because again, it's white noise. So we wouldn't go because that would give it away. But you go, psst, 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 and we pull the tape, like oi, 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 and that means like stop.
Yeah.
Let's chat because we need to sort of like sort something out. But yeah.
That must have been pretty eerie for, say, some of these farmers or whatever else. They might have overheard, the stomping or whatever else, and they might come out and go, "What the?" It must be pretty fucking eerie.
Most of these farmers don't live anywhere near the fields they manage. They live miles away. Yeah.
But I mean, if you're just stumbling or whatever, you're just, for some odd reason, you're cutting through some farmer's field and, you're hearing the stomping or whatever. And you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That sound is crazy.
It's funny because I mean, I struggle to hear when I've walked into a field where I know they're making a circle and I'm like late or something, like they've gone in, they're starting, and I'm trying to find where they are. And I'm doing this, like trying to, and I'm going, I know they're in here somewhere. Which tram line are they at? And I'm like, you're walking along and you go, it's a bit louder now. And it's like still hard to kind of work out where they are. And eventually you narrow in on them. But yeah, it's not easy. And to be honest, if you didn't know that sound, it's a very subtle sound, you would probably overlook it. You just think, oh, what's that? Oh, it must be the trees, like tree heads rustling, or something in the wind or whatever.
Now, I know you've hey, Mark Cornell, how are you? I know I've asked you this, but I just find it fascinating because, even though these crop circles are man-made, there is some sort of aspect or whatever, some sort of energy that you have mentioned several times that sort of either kind of guides you or gives you this kind of, okay, you mentioned it, we're doing this for the better good. Something there that's sort of like overseeing what you're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I've told people so many times. Yeah, I mean, a quick catalogue of weird experiences we've had. Made a crop circle, got a really strange feeling that it was okay to do it, even though we knew people were watching the field, and they couldn't see us make the circle, even though they were in the same field, and it was they were higher, so they were looking down onto where we were. And in the morning, we sought out, like, oh, well, what did they see or hear, and who were those people? And we found out that they said that the light had come up and there was fog over that part of the field. And I think they said it was fog there in the night as well. They couldn't see in there because it was fog, but there was no fog. We didn't see any fog. But in the morning, the fog lifted up and there was a crop circle. So these people were really surprised. So that's one instance. There was the time when I got real sort of feeling I had to go and make a crop circle that night,
Yeah.
which was crazy because it was too late and I wasn't going to get a team together.
Mhm.
And I still felt like, no, I must go out and make a crop circle tonight. And I thought, oh, okay, well, all right, let's follow my kind of instinct that I need to make a crop circle tonight.
Yeah.
And I went to an area near Avebury.
Mhm.
Didn't even know there was suitable crop in the field, but kind of like thought, oh yeah, that looks like a crop field. So I went down there and I kind of walked around, and I heard people because they were playing a guitar and singing and laughing and things like this. And I thought, oh shit, there's people nearby. So I was very quiet, and this just kind of tells you that you can get away with it quite close to people. And they don't understand the noise. So I did this crop circle. It was a simple design.
Mhm.
And then I found out in the morning that the people who had been there had been meditating on that specific design. And I'd come out from my house, 10 miles away,
Yeah.
driven to that exact field and put it right next to where they were meditating, asking for it. So that's another, example. We've had weird things. One night it was raining.
Mhm.
And I asked the universe, I just, because I would always set up the crop circles by doing a little oration to the universe saying, please give us guidance and look after us and this sort of stuff. And I would sort of dedicate it to the people of the earth and the universe and dedicate the crop circle to that. And one night it was raining. I was getting really despondent and wet and cold. Like it was cold to my skin. I was shivering, it was kind of like, and I just sort of like looked up and I just like, oh, can you just give us a break with this rain? Yeah. And it's like, and then over the next couple of minutes, 5 minutes, stopped raining. And I'm like, okay. And it was just like a mist then. It was just like a mist of, the moisture in the air rather than actual droplets of rain. It was just like mist. And I thought, that's quite good. And then I looked up and I saw there was an oval shape in the cloud.
Oh,
and I was like looking at it above us. And it was very low cloud as well. It was like the cloud was, maybe only 500 feet.
Yeah.
So you could see the cloud moving. Yeah. But this oval was still there, and you could see through it. And it's like you could see the sky. So you could see through this oval. You could see the stars. And yet the cloud was moving past it. So it wasn't like just a sporadic opening that moved over us and then moved away as the cloud, the cloud was moving and it was staying there.
That's
that happened.
Crazy.
That happened to me, and it happened to somebody else as well. Similar situation, I think he said he was pissed off with the rain, and I think he was like, oh, please give me a break or something. And it happened to him. So, I thought I was the only person that ever happened to, but I was chatting to my mate. He said, yeah, that happened to us too.
So what do you think? What do you think that was?
Something helping out.
That's crazy.
Something. Insane. Is it aliens? I don't know. Is it some sort of spirit force or some sort of energy being? I don't know. I have no idea. But it was obviously intelligent enough to read my mind, read my thoughts, because I didn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it happened.
That's crazy. Yeah. Start saying it out loud and then all of a sudden that happens. That'd be insane.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. And then we had a time shift where we had more time to complete a crop circle one night because I said, I was getting desperate because we were running out of time. And I was projecting forwards how far we would be into making the circle because, this is going to take like an hour. That'll take an hour. And flattening is going to take like 2 hours. And I was like, we just haven't got enough time. It's going to be daylight and we're going to get spotted. So I was just like, I just said to the universe again, I just said, we need more time. We need more time. And I'd already asked people, like, what's the time? What's the time? Because I was getting like, shit, we're going to need to speed up or something because we're going to run out of time. So I said, what's the time? And they said like 1 o'clock. And I was like, right, we're running out of time. And then an hour went by making the circle. I said, we need more time. And then I said, what's the time? And they went like, oh, it's 1 o'clock. And I went, yeah, but you said it was 1 o'clock an hour ago. And they were like, yeah, mine says 1 o'clock as well. And I'm like, and so, we worked for an hour from 1 o'clock and then it was 1 o'clock.
Wow.
And I looked up in the sky and the way the sky had changed over the hour from that point.
Yeah.
you start to see the red glow of the kind of the what will eventually become the sun coming up. You know, you see the red glow, and then when I said like, well, what's the time? They said it's 1 o'clock. I looked again, and all the red glow had gone. And then over the next hour, the red glow came up again. So it was like, you know,
stop playing tricks on me. Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that was a buzz, to be honest. I mean, like some of those things, that's what kept me going for all that time doing this stuff. Because if it was just an art endeavor to make nice bits of art and, you know, so people would, I don't think I would have been involved in it that long. You know?
I mean, let's face it, though. I mean, how many people actually think about going out and making crop circles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to be like something like that. You'd have to be dedicated. You really would. I mean, you can't just go, I'm going to go make crop circles and, you know.
Well, you've got to have a bunch of friends who are into doing it, you know, and they've got to be as mad about it as you are, you know, because it takes a level of kind of crazy to kind of want to do it in the first place, you know, and then somebody's got to have the design skills, you know, and somebody's got to work out the measurements on paper, because if you don't work that out, you're never going to work it out in the field just by guesswork. You're not going to do it.
I couldn't, like, you know, like today's workforce, Matt, I couldn't see this generation doing this. I couldn't.
I'd love to see some Chinese crop circles. They'd be all up there working all over the place. And do you know the Chinese tape measures, right, are all different sizes?
Really?
Like, you've got 1 meter, and then you put it up against another tape measure, and then 1 meter's that long. And this one says it's that long. And it's like, they can't even get a frigging tape measure right.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're that crazy with the bloody way they rip stuff off. It's all over the place, and you wonder why buildings fall apart all the time out there. But they probably don't know what the bloody measurements of the buildings are. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, you just, the dedication wouldn't be there now, and I mean, a lot has changed when it comes to, you know, over the years, you know, with, you know, crop circles and the paranormal and all that kind of. A lot's changed the way people look at it. I mean, do you find a massive difference with the crop circle sort of scenario now as opposed to when you were doing it?
I'm a bit disappointed by the people who are making the crop circles now, because they're not very spiritually orientated, and I think that if there's that is lacking there, then that's sad. Maybe they're being influenced by something telepathically, you know, like we were, but maybe they're not so aware of it or interested in it. They certainly don't seem to kind of show much interest in talking about that side of things, you know, which is why me and my friends were doing it, is because we loved it. We saw what it did for other people, and we had paranormal experiences in the middle, and so did other people visiting the crop circles.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win-win. Whereas like these people who came along afterwards, they kind of, you know, more there was a team from London called Team Satan. And, you know, they used to do these big art pieces, you know, they were like very, very big, very complicated. And, you know, to me, it'd be like, oh, it's a head fuck, you know. I did work with them a few times, but it was like, it was a bit like a military operation, you know, in the perspective of you being, they were barking orders at you, and it was like, you know, come on faster, you know, and it was like, oh, Jesus, you know, it wasn't a nice, friendly environment. Like when we do things, we kind of like, we take a bit of time, we sit down, we have a quick chat, and then we'll sort of carry on, you know. And it's kind of, it's not like shouting orders and cracking the whip, you know. And yeah, okay, I get it, you know. They were doing some complicated stuff, they were on a time, you know, they were trying to keep to time and all this, but it just wasn't a nice vibe with them. And I mean, they were called Team Satan, you know, so what do you expect? Like, does what it says on the tin. But they weren't very interested in the paranormal either. And they used to
Mm.
play it down, and they used to say, "Oh no, we're just artists. We're just artists." And I used to think there was a level of ego there,
Mhm.
because they were quite big-headed about the fact that they did very good work, but they were big-headed about it too. And I think along with that big-headedness came this feeling that they were it. They were the art. That's all there was. And I kind of wanted to know whether they'd had weird experiences as well,
Yeah.
and I found out that a lot of them did have weird experiences whilst they were out, but they wouldn't talk about it. It's almost like as if it would detract from them saying, we're artists, we're professionals, and we do really good art, and that's all they wanted to talk about is us, art, us,
Mm.
ego,
Yeah,
ego,
yeah.
and whereas I was saying, well, look, I feel like we're guided to do this, and some of the things we've done have been really, great for people to come and visit and have healing and amazing stuff, and I think it's all part of the magic. It's part of the magic of people are doing it, and it's kind of like, we're guided, people are guided to come and visit them, and that's all really good. And these guys are kind of like, no, that's all bollocks, we're just artists. And I'm like, it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
I
it's bitter taste, with that sort of attitude. But they had experiences, but they wouldn't talk about them. So I managed to get a few of them to talk about the weird experiences they had when they were out. But again, it was kind of like you had to pry it out of them. They did have weird experiences, but they just didn't talk about it a lot, which is why I did the Circle Makers TV, because I thought people need to know this shit.
Mhm.
And if I write a book, only people who would buy the book would get to read it. Whereas if I stick it on YouTube,
Yeah.
it's free. It's a
Yeah.
resource material for everybody. It's out there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something that's always fascinated me. I've always been fascinated by crop circles, and I mean there are some, and I know you're pretty kind of familiar with some of the stuff that has happened over here in Canada, but it's again it's I mean you've got this vast area, and so much to work with. I mean, when you're working crop circles, I mean, what's the best time of the year?
Well, when there's crop,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the crop. No, I
Which
know, but
sounds silly, doesn't it? But yeah,
no,
you could
but
only April to August,
so
kind of.
it doesn't matter if the crop is dying or whatever else. It doesn't matter as long as it's there.
You want to wait for the plant to have done its spurt, so it's
Yeah.
got to the kind of general mass height that it needs to be.
Yeah.
When it's in the spurt phase, it's too short for a start anyway,
Yeah.
and it's what we call very green.
Hmm.
And when something is green, it's got a lot of motion left in it.
Hmm.
When it's done its spurt, if you lay the crop down, it will tend to stay down. Whereas if you try to do it when it's a bit green,
Yeah.
a lot of it by the morning, once the sun comes out, the
It's
crop will
back
start
up.
growing back up towards the light. It'll actually
Yeah.
start lifting off the ground because
Yeah.
it wants to point towards the light. So it can actually end up looking messy. But some people would say then, oh, look, the crop is halfway in the air. So clearly it hasn't been pressed down by a stomper board, because that would have flattened it against the ground. It's like, yeah, but crop's alive. I mean, it's like, it doesn't stand still just because you flatten it down. It's a living thing, and it just wants to move. And so, yes, you get these crop circles, which would be half lifted up. But me and everyone else, we didn't tend to do those because they would look messy,
Hmm.
and you would, unless you had a lot of people in there walking around, re-trampling it down by visiting it and walking around and around, those crop circles could look a little bit weird. So they didn't have the same kind of. I watched Circle Makers TV. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It was a fun show. We had a bit of a laugh doing that.
yeah.
But yeah, so basically, what you do is you wait till the crop's grown to its proper height, then you
Mhm.
do it. What you flatten tends to stay flattened, which is important. The most horrible crop to work in is rapeseed, because it's like thick celery
Oh
stalks.
yeah.
you know, and when you press those things down, they often snap and crunch,
Oh,
you know, and it gets out all of your clothes. It's messy stuff. It's
oh,
got
really?
yellow pollen all in it,
Yeah.
and it's really messy. So you tend to work in barley or wheat, which comes later in the season. So the first crops that'll appear will be the rapeseed, and then you get the wheats and the barleys. And you tend to want to work, you know, sort of like June, July, August. And that's it. You know, it's a very narrow window, really, for the best stuff. And if you work in later crop, it shines more because it's just an effect of the crop. I think it's it just gets dusty, and from the air it reflects the sun more when you've got like a dust on the crop. So yeah, it's always better towards the end. They always look the best. They photograph the best towards the end of the season. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this is stuff that, yeah, I mean, is it, you know, trial and error with a lot of this stuff. I mean, you learn as you go because I mean, when you're doing this, man, I mean, literally, there was no playbook, was there?
When we started doing it, I didn't even know about using a tape measure. I was using string, and we were measuring out onto string and putting knots in the string so that we would take it out to knot 1 or knot 2. And we found out that wasn't so bad in terms of, yes, you can measure things on a piece of string. That's perfectly fine. The big problem is that string stretches. And one of the things you have to do is two of you have to stand at 2 post points and pull it tight because it'll bow quite a bit. And also, if the wind is blowing, it'll blow it, and that'll blow you in because it's blowing the tape outwards. So it blows you in. And all of this means that the measurements are sort of doing this now as the wind is blowing, or you're stretching. You've stretched the stuff too much, and now you've introduced this incremental error, which will get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go. So somebody said to us, "Oh, don't you use tape measure?" And I'm like, "No. What's the difference between tape?" And they said, "Well, tape doesn't stretch, you know, because it's got fiberglass woven into it, and you can really stretch it, and it doesn't want to stretch, you know, so you don't get this tolerance crap." So that was the biggest, turnaround really in quality terms was getting better stomper boards, which were lighter, because we were using big, thick, clumping pieces of wood, you know, and you just didn't need it. You could just use like a thin strip of wood, really, that was quite light. You know, and it meant that as you're lifting it up all the time, because remember, you've got to lift it every time you stomp. But if you're lifting something that's like 4 times the weight, that's going to get tiring. You know, so you try and keep that as light as possible, the board. And surveying tape, that's right. Yeah. So like one, you got a little roll on the side, and you just wind it up. And you can get 30 meters and 100 meters. You get the bigger ones, you know, like they're about that big, larger ones with a big handle on the side. But I mean, you know, you don't really want 100-meter tape. That's going to be fucking monster circle territory. Because you imagine 100 diameter, 100 meters diameter would be 300 feet diameter that way. So 300 foot radius. Sorry. So it's going to be 600 foot diameter. I mean, that is going to be a monster to flatten. You know, it's going to be, we're going to wish you never did that if you planned to that sort of size, because they can be monsters. So
well, what's the largest you've ever done?
Some of the elongated ones, like the snake, was quite long, you know, quite big. But we fucked up one night because we were doing the East Field again, and I think somebody got their measurements wrong. I think they thought they were working in feet and they were working in meters, and you know, so that, like, I think, is it 3 foot goes into a meter, so it's 3 times the size.
Roughly,
you know, and so we ended up doing something, and we were like scribing these massive circles out there, and it's like it was meant to be an symbol, you know, like the it's like, I don't know, it's Indian or, you know, it's like this peace symbol. It's like the it's like a 3, but it comes round and up.
Yeah.
I could probably find yeah. Oh, is it symbol? Yeah.
Like Omni?
No. I'll bring it here now. But it didn't end up looking like this at all in the end. I'll bring it up for you now so you can see. Where are we? Share screen. This one. Here is that thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what we ended up doing is perfect circles around the edge here and here. And then we realized how big it was going to be. We just couldn't really even start on doing this side because we realized that we screwed up and well, I didn't screw, my mate kind of cocked it up, but we were sort of like, this is huge, you know, like we knew this was like just on a gigantic scale. So we just said, well, look, you're just going to have to be this side. You can't start on this. We'll never finish. You know, it's going to be daylight, and it's one of those places where people do look down off the hills. Yeah. To kind of, they would have seen us crack of dawn. Yeah. There's some places you can get away with things, and that's not one of them.
One of the places,
we would have been,
that would have been insane. Wow. And it seems pretty intricate too, doing something like that. So I mean,
I mean, I can see if I can find it even, and I don't know whether people actually called it the symbol.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It didn't really look like it was meant to be at all. Well, we did actually do the back bit. We did it much smaller than it should have been. Yeah, and it wasn't how it was meant to turn. I'll show you what it ended up looking like. But I mean, it is not. So it gives you an idea of, you know, what things can go like. There we are. Oh. So you can kind of see we were trying to work down here and around there, and down there and around there. But this should have gone much further and gone up here.
Yeah.
So these circles should have been thicker, right the way around.
Yeah.
But it ended up being almost like a bra. Like, I mean, two bras, you know, and then some sort of thing off the back. But again, this thing here should have been much bigger. But the scale of it, you know, I mean, if you look at the length from there to there, I mean, it was, I mean, it appeared on 777. We did it on a specific date. So the 777 crop circle. But we probably could have done a much better job if we hadn't have cocked up the size.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
Massive.
I mean, it is from end to end. It'd take you like 5 minutes to walk from one end to the other, you know, at a brisk pace, you know, up a tram line.
Tram line. Okay. I'm gonna get a refill and I'll be right back, Matt. We'll take a break. Hold on a sec, guys. We'll be right back. This is really cool. Hold on. about that. I had a phone call. Unfortunately, I had to take, but sorry for the delay. Oh, there you go.
Long.
Heart. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. My niece was calling, and I had to make sure she was okay with something. So,
Cool.
yeah. But anyways, sorry about that, guys. And plus, I had to get a refill.
Me
Yeah,
too. Neat vodka. No, it's water.
water. Yeah, you want to make sure you get a clear head for tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Well, the last thing I want to be doing is like I had a night well of drinking the night before,
Yeah.
and then like hungover and tired in the car. Nah, it's going to be coffee and energy drinks up to Urbageddon, and then drive back.
So,
It's going to be a long old day tomorrow.
how long of a drive is it for you?
It's going to be about 2.5, 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, and then you said you had something the very next day or something, right? You could only and then bang, you're gone. You have to go to your
Yeah.
other location.
Yeah, plus, I mean, the neighbour's letting the dog out, so she's going to finish letting the dog out at 10, so I want to be back 1 o'clock. So I may end up going a little bit early. People are going to be like partying till 12. I might be like, right, gotta go, folks, because I gotta fucking let the dog out. Yeah.
Who let the dog? Yeah. How's Angel doing?
She's good. She's downstairs. She sort of woke up to see if I had any food just now, and I went down there and no food. Right, I go back to bed. Yeah.
And how old is she now? She's
12.
12. Wow.
Mm.
Wow, that's and I mean, is that like a good age for that type of dog?
Yeah, they say sort of, 12, 13 is kind of how long they live. So if she
Yeah.
can get any more out of it, then she'll be doing well.
Yeah.
She's got energy in her, but she's like grown grumpy. So it's like you've got to motivate her with food. You take her for a walk, she's like, I'm bored. And it's like if you pull a treat out, then you can get her running. She'll run,
Yeah.
But it's like she won't do anything unless there's some sort of food incentive, like as if it's carrot and stick.
Yeah. How far is the wood lot? You know what? The wood lot is very close. Very close. It's again, it's part and parcel to the land, the overall land that's been developed here, and yeah, it's got quite an interesting backstory to it. PR Oliver was just asking how far it was. Matt, is there any members videos?
Just saw that. I was like, "Are you kidding? Have you seen how many I put out in the last 2 weeks?" Yeah, I put loads out.
That's been a busy bee, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get out again. I might put a little video out of Urbageddon, take some shots of things going on tomorrow and put a little members video out when I come back. But that won't get done till Monday because I'm going to be a very busy boy tomorrow. So, yeah, we should be getting out again a bit more. I mean, I've had lots of bills, so I haven't been able to get very far. So you've noticed a lot of these explorers mostly being around where I live. So, yeah, apart from Leicester, which I did actually spend a load of money going up there. But yeah, well, we'll have some. Just be patient. Be patient. Otherwise, I don't have about 50 videos for members, and it'll be going out, like 2 a week or something, and it'd be like that'll be months for the public to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time catching up. You put out some quite a bit, and I mean, I try to watch them as much as possible, and I've kept up, but I mean, holy, yeah, it's and I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, you're keeping things active. You're constantly releasing stuff, and I know there's periods, obviously, when you can't do it. I mean, that's life, right? I mean, there's times when you have more important things to deal with. But I mean, you eventually just start throwing vids out all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's been choosing a day when it's not been raining as well. It's been like rain, rain, rain 3 days, and then the sun comes out and it's like, right, I'm going now, and it's like, right, get out and do something. And it's like, it's not raining the next day. Right, I'll go and do another one. And then it's like rain, 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 rain as well. So it has been, because if you live in the UK, you know what I'm saying. It's been a lot of rain. So that's been a bit awkward, but yeah. It's like people slashing my tires. That cost me money. So that was money coming out of I could have gone exploring.
Somebody slashed your tires?
Well, a tire, yeah, on an Explorer. I parked next to a farmer's field. I respectfully parked back so that they could get in and out of the field and they could pass on the road.
Yeah.
But, he wasn't happy because he knew I was going over to see this bloody house over the way. So he started following me through the field. And when I got to the other end, I sort of quickly looked at the house and then doubled back around a hedgerow and managed to get away from it. And I thought, right, great. I didn't encounter the farmer. Brilliant. So I'm like, get away. And as I drive down the road and the bloody tire was going down.
Hey, Sab, how are you?
Yeah. And it was definitely slashed because where the tire meets the rim, the metal rim, it was just there. And it was like a gash, and it's like, fucking bastard.
I don't know what it is with people. They, but yeah.
Farmers are pricks. A lot of them.
Yeah.
They need to get out more and meet people and socialize because they're grumpy bastards and they literally like sticking it on people and sticking it on the wildlife and trapping animals and shooting this and shooting that, and they're just miserable fucks off. I find.
Oh God, look at that one. Well, I don't know if it was a farm, but that one house you guys went to, and they had the collection of fucking shit in the buckets from venting. Oh my God! Like, come on, that was brutal.
I mean, what's all that about?
Oh man,
the police rang me up about that. They were concerned. They saw the police. Somebody might have reported to them or something, but they rang me up and they said, Mr. Williams, and it's police in West Wales, and I'm like, oh yeah. They said, that video you stuck up. I'm like, yeah. And they said, we're a bit concerned, and we want to go over and check the house out, and I'm like, okay, can you tell us where it is? I'm like, yeah, sure, it's here. And they went over to check the place out because I think they must have thought, like, what else? If we look around, what else are we going to find?
Yeah, that'd be pretty freaky walking into a place like that. But I mean, what do you expect when you go into some of these places? I mean, you gotta expect anything.
They had coffins for their dead dogs as well. Like, they didn't just do what most people do, which is like cremate them. They had them in boxes.
Wow. That's insane.
Coffins, proper coffins made up for them. And it was just like, this husk in there, which was their puppy, it's just like, whoa, And I guess it must have been the explorers who went in there that opened the coffins, because I can't imagine they would have had the coffins open. Can you imagine if they did have the coffins open to have a look from time to time?
Yeah.
I mean, like, who would do that? It doesn't bear thinking about. Yeah.
How often do you? I mean, if any, do you pull stuff like footage out of the vault and say, okay, I'm going to release this finally?
I should. I have got a lot of stuff, but a lot of it's on the hard drives, which the police have still got.
That's right.
So, I can't do anything until I get those back. Otherwise, I've got to try and dig out. I think I got rid of a lot of the VHSs. I transferred them to DVD, but I mean, I've got DVDs, but they don't, I found out, transfer well into the computer. They'll play in a DVD player, but they won't come back into the bloody machine. So I struggled the other night to get something that I did from the United States. I did a talk about crop circles in the United States at an event. And I tried to rip that, thinking like, oh, that'll be nice for people to see on the channel. And I could not get the bastard off. I couldn't do it. It was corrupt. The disc was damaged in some way. And it was like, nope. It was just no.
I find that a lot too with a lot of the stuff that I've captured over the years, and I put it onto DVD-R or whatever else, and it just you go to try to transfer it onto digital, and just it won't, the disc won't play because there's some corruption, or there's it's just damaged or scratched, or just a small little scratch, and it doesn't want to play. Like, come on, seriously.
Yeah. This amazing technology that we were told, like, you can put jam on it and play it, peanut butter, and it'll still play. Like fuck.
Exactly.
Same with CDs as well. Remember the old CDs? And they couldn't just make it so that when it got to a point where it couldn't play, it went quiet. It's sort of going like, on the trail of the Lawson, pine, 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 pine. Like, whose idea of a joke was that, to design a CD that just goes ba 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 ba? It's just going quiet. You know what I mean? Quiet would be. I get it. It's not playing. Fast forward. Yeah,
come on, Matt. You could use it and mix it and make some like dance music, like some trance music going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like some of those dudes that do on whatever. I'm not even going that. Hey, Mark, how are you? Mark Street 10, how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I was going to say, the thing with crop circles is, especially on this channel, we have talked about, I get the feeling we've talked about it too much, because it's like, I don't mind talking about it, but I think that our wonderful guests are probably fed up of hearing me talking about it, because all I got is the same stories. All I can do is tell you the same things over and over again.
The thing is, I completely respect that, Matt, and it's just it's neat to kind of pick your brain about it. And
every year you should get me to talk about crops.
Every year, come on,
once a year, maybe.
PR says, here we go. We need more of your mixing, Matt.
Well, try, yeah.
We'll have an annual Matt Crop Circle special.
Yeah. There's me mixer. I'll have to get it out. Yeah.
The annual Crop Circle special with Matt.
Yeah. Let's remember the good old days. I mean, even one of the best circle makers out there, Julian, whose work is very, very precise, very large scale, intricate, complicated, brilliant stuff. And, he worked for 20 odd years, creating crop circles, didn't really get any recognition from it, and kind of, not that he was looking for it, but he just didn't, that's the way it works. And he's kind of given up now, he's kind of getting on with life, as opposed to worrying about whether he's going to make a crop circle or not.
I mean, is it just something that just it just, you're exhausted? I've done it. I don't need to do this anymore. What's the point of doing it anymore? I mean, when you were doing it,
well, let me ask you a question, right? Because you've still got your energy to do ghost stuff. Right?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. There we are. You see, so but the thing is, would you bother doing ghost stuff if it meant being out in a field, freezing cold for 6 hours, being rained on?
No,
it'd get old, wouldn't it? And eventually,
my bones are creaking.
It's not so bad with the ghost stuff, because you might have to run from the car to a building or something, but then you're inside and it's not quite so bad, is it? But
I think obviously there's a difference between people who have created these things and people who are sitting on the sidelines going, okay, well, that's pretty cool. Hey, Mr. John Bengle, how are you?
Hey, John. You traveling up in the morning, John, or are you already up there? Brady's doing a live now.
Brady's
fuck's sake.
Brady's live now. Oh, poor Brady. There, I put a link. John or somebody, Sav, wants to pop on up. Come on up. By all means. We'll go for a little while longer, not too much longer.
He hasn't done any. He hasn't done any live videos in ages. Oh, here come the. It's strange, that isn't it? It's now here come the wankers, like
Brady. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't seen too much from Brady.
I'm not saying that about Brady, by the way. I'm just the phone just started coming alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen too much from Brady lately, though.
Yeah, he's got 11 people on there watching.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like he's in a hotel room, so that's why he's gone live.
Is he doing the urbex thing too?
Oh no, he's at a pub or something.
Oh, is he doing the urbex Urbageddon as well?
Yeah, he'll be there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to, and that's tomorrow night, right?
Yes. Somebody will probably be live streaming from the event at some points, but I mean, we really haven't got a formula of what we're going to do, so we're just going to wing it, and see what people want to do.
Yeah, I'd like to watch. I really would. It, like I said, it was really, really cool watching it last year. For those who were live streaming it and so on and so on. Like I said, if I was there, I definitely would be there. It looked really, really fun. So, and it's really, it's cool, Matt. It's a really, really cool circle of people.
You get to know people after a while who are the good ones and who are the dodgy ones, and it's kind of like the dodgy ones just don't survive. It's just, because they marginalize themselves and they haven't got many friends, and it's just like it's like with crop circles. I mean, you can only really work with people who are cool. You can't work with idiots.
No.
So
I mean, and they're the ones that just really want to cause shit. They just want to stir up the pot.
Yeah,
and that's it.
John says he's having a beer with a number of urbexes. Oh, right, cool. So they've worked out where they're all at and they've met up. That's good.
Awesome. Click the link. Come up and give us a live on location.
Yeah.
Brady's more into golf these days. PR Oliver says.
Well, yeah, there might be that.
Here we go. Hey, John, how are you?
I can't hear you very well, but I'm going to say hello and welcome. Let me flip the camera around to see show you how many.
There he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Right, you ready to see?
Yeah, hang on, go on.
It's pre-Urbageddon. Pre-Urbageddon.
Oh, lost him. Pre-Urbageddon.
Yeah.
Pre-Urbageddon. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Like I said, all the people that were there last year seemed pretty cool, and a lot of the fixtures, a lot of people that even though I don't live there, I know, because I mean, watching and following, and yourself and Brady and even Andrew, Proven Demons showing up last year and shit like that, Oh, here he is. There we go.
I'm back. Amateur I am. Look. So look. Hello. Say
hello.
We're on nocturnal frequencies.
There's quite a lot there, isn't it?
Who do you got there with you, John?
Gav.
Oh, there's Gav.
Hello.
There's Gav.
Nocturnal frequency.
See, I should have been there at that pub with them now.
Nocturnal frequency.
If you want to see semantics, I am live at the moment.
Hey, Sue.
So yeah, it's a bit mental here at the moment.
That's
Enjoy.
And let me
Yeah,
just go
enjoy.
back to how I was. I don't even know I'm doing this.
Awesome.
Oh, you're
There
back,
it is.
right?
That's awesome, dude. That's
Oh,
awesome.
the fuck? What the hell is it?
Oh Christ, they're giving us shots now. What is this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what is it?
It's gonna be a long. It's gonna be a long day for you
Got
tomorrow.
that, folks. Bottoms up as a bambuka. Hey.
Cheers.
Yay.
That is cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Hey.
Who needs Urbageddon when you have this, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, something put it on.
Oh.
I feel gutted now. I can't be there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Gareth.
I thought it was
Oh, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wait a sec.
Matt,
John's glass is looking a little small there.
Oh dear. Cheers, everyone. I'm going to leave you to it because, like, you know, I don't want
Cheers,
to.
guys. Cheers.
I know.
Cheers,
Beers,
everyone.
We'll see you
beers more
tomorrow, mate.
important. Yeah.
Steve, wish you were here. And,
I wish I was there
next
too,
year,
guys.
yeah?
Yeah, next year, hopefully.
Say
I
goodbye,
really
everyone.
want
I'm going off for this one.
to.
It's like fucking rainbow, isn't it? Goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, man. That is so awesome. And
Yeah.
like you said, they're going to be feeling it tomorrow morning.
See, and you know, there's like somebody was like rattling off, sending out photos on social media, going like bunch of wankers going there, and he was making up names, going like wanker this and bum boy that and twat this and da 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 da. And it's like it's just a bunch of people getting together to have a drink and a chat. You know what I mean? It's just like a
just
social.
enjoy, yeah, just
And,
enjoy
like,
it.
Some people are just like ripping on it, like, you know, and saying we're doing it for money and all this sort of stuff. It's like you do realize that, like, you have to pay the rent for the hall that we're you know, oh god,
It's
people just
not
don't.
free.
12 quid. You know what I mean? It's like nothing. It's bugger
Yeah,
all.
doing it for the money. Yeah, I gotta spend money on a hotel room. Yeah, okay.
You got to spend money to get there. You've got to spend money on a hotel room, and like, what? It's going to cost you 50 quid for the hotel room. It's probably going to cost you 80 quid to get there in petrol. You know what I mean? And they weren't worried about, like, this guy saying like 12 quid to get in. It's like, you know, well, if this guy wasn't a complete and utter arsehole, you could probably say, look, all right, mate, we'll let you in for free, all right, because you're moaning about it. You know what I mean? But like,
Dazzy, are you going to go tomorrow? Dazzy's saying tomorrow's going to be epic. I bet it is, and that's I discovered Matt via Ben Emlyn Jones. Yeah, I fucking love Ben. Ben's a great guy. We got to have Ben on the show again. It's been a long time. And well, and I keep saying this. I discovered Matt through Gareth Davies and so on, and Ben through Gareth. So I mean, like, it's that circle. It's that circle. There's a great, fucking great bunch of people over there, and I'd love to finally get over there and visit you guys and do some shit and whatever else. I think it'd be great. I mean, like, you guys do the Urbageddon pretty much around the same time, right? October sort of thing.
Yeah, near Halloween. We've done it most years. Yeah.
Right. And what is this? Is this the second year?
Yeah, it's just only the second year.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, we had a good time, you know, on the first one. So why not carry it on? I mean, and it's not like a heavily engineered event. It's just like, you tell people it's on, come, you know, we'll all meet up. We'll all meet up. That's it. You know, it's not really like a formalized plan. They didn't say who's coming on this one because people were sort of moaning, saying, oh, they said that person was going to come, and then they didn't turn up and all this. And they, you know, there's a lot of people who said they were definitely going to turn up, and then they pulled out at the last minute. And, you know, so this time round, he just said, look, it's Urbageddon. It's just whoever's there happens to be there, just come. no promises. Whoever happens to be there, it's just a good
Yeah.
chance to meet people, and have a chat. You
Yeah.
can make some new friends and maybe go out exploring with them at some point.
Yeah, Trace, or sorry, Sue. Yeah, I'd love to, and yeah, you and Dinkum should come. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, you can meet some other people and who you can end up going out exploring with. Not me, because I'm Mr. Misery Guts who just don't want to trust people anymore. I've had too many weird ones. But
But that's the thing, Matt. I mean, when you a lot of people watch what you put out, you unfortunately you're going to get that.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people who follow or subscribe to the channel, I mean, people have known you for a long time. You're going to get those unfortunate trolls or whatever else. I mean,
well,
I've
they're
experienced
well-intentioned, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
asking me like to come and take you out on an explore, it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I don't know what I'm letting myself in for. I mean, I'm more than happy for all these people there to cross mingle with each other, learn whether each other are good or bad, and work their differences out. And when you've sorted the differences out, then maybe some of you could come on and explore. But it's kind of like people have to get to know each other, and some of these events are the kind of like only way you're going to really get to look somebody in the eye and see, is there anybody home, or is it vacant in there?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you're not just going to bring out anybody.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean, you'd be ludicrous. I mean, I have done, that's a practice I've had for years when it comes to the paranormal, locations. I mean, you just don't, broadcast certain locations because their intentions aren't well.
Yeah.
You know it.
They're going to ring the bloody police.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know people well, and I don't want to be responsible as well for somebody who's got 2 left feet, and is going to fall through the floor at the first possible instance. They're going to break a leg.
Well, that's the thing. Well, that's the thing too.
Not everyone is good on their feet. You see this, like you're trying to walk down a muddy bank, and somebody's falling arse over tit and ripping their coat and all this, and it's usually the new guys, it's the newcomer.
It's like now when you invite people over to your house and they literally get sauced, and when they leave they get into a fucking car accident or whatever. You're like, well, you're feeding them booze. You don't want, you feel guilty because
sounds like you've had that experience.
No, I haven't had, thankfully I haven't had that experience, but I mean, these are the things that people don't think of, right? I mean, you have a function at your house and a party or whatever else, and people come over, and some people get a little too fucking, a little too drunk, and they decide to drive home, and they get into an accident or they get a speeding ticket or whatever, right? You kind of feel bad.
But I did have, this is a very long time ago, I had somebody who was quite well known came over to my house. We took some acid together and watched movies all night long. And then in the morning they were like, oh, I'm quite tired now. And I said, well, you can go to bed. And they're like, no, we're going to go home. And I'm going, you are still wired on acid. No, not a good idea. Don't know. And they were like, no, it'll be fine. Like, we only live down the road. I'm like, yeah, but you got a car and you're going to try and get behind the wheel of a car. It's not advisable. I really wouldn't do that. I would sleep it off and try later on, because you're still going. And I said, you won't know until you literally turn that key and try to start moving that car. You will not know how fucked you are, because then it's going to hit home, and everything's going to start getting weird, and you're going to get very paranoid. I'm just telling you, because I've been there, and I kind of, you really, it's not a good idea. Oh, no. They were, no, we're going to go. I said, look, do me a favor, right? Do me a favor. If you get as far as the village, right, or beyond it, and it's too much, don't be a hero, turn around and come back, okay? Because literally, don't end up in it causing an accident, or becoming driving slow and people are thinking, what the hell's going on here, or swerving around. You don't do it, just don't do it. So anyway, 10 minutes later, knock on the door, and they're like, oh yeah, it's fucked up, I can't do it. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. Get back in your fucking get this bed's upstairs. Go and get it in bed,
Yeah, it's I keep going, Matt. That's no fair. They're partying over there without us. What's going on, man? Come on.
Well, I just had my mate was meant to. He was going to look after the dog. He ended up going on he got called out to Kuala Lumpur. Yeah. So he's now out in bloody Indonesia or whatever.
Oh, wow.
He would have been looking after the dog. So there's no one to look after the dog. So my neighbor's going to let the dog out, and I have to come back early because of this, because the dog was going to need to be, looked after until I go and do the thing in the morning. And then she's going to let the dog out during the day whilst I do that. But it's not ideal, which is why I got to come back as early as I can, really. But, yeah.
Brady just showed up in chat.
Hey, Brady. So, yeah, but it's a good event, and I'm really sad that there's a couple of like weirdos out there who are like quite weird people, and they've been like taking a pop at the event, which is silly because these are people who haven't got any friends, and the way they act, they probably never will have any friends until they get like a serious attitude adjustment. Because this is a social event, and they're having a go because people are out having a good time. They could be there too if they weren't just going to be such dicks about the way they behave.
Exactly. Exactly. I never understand. I could never understand why people, why not wanting to be a part of it. And it's, you're feeling a little jealous because people are like, hanging around, or, they have these friends that are doing these things. If you feel jealous, get rid of the jealousy, include yourself, talk, be a part of the conversations, get to know people. Don't be a fucking dick and try to disrupt shit, because everybody else will notice it.
Yeah.
And you're alienating everyone around you by doing that.
Yeah. They don't seem to get it though, know what I mean? And it's and like some people who've like come to events and like they're hanging around in the corner, like messing around, like putting masks on and walking around with masks on, and they're not interacting. They're like in their own little world. They've got this, I don't know, barrier they've placed around themselves where they don't like the event. They know already that they're not going to like it. They're obviously not very social people, and they're not really trying to kind of chat and mingle, and yeah. Probably not for them. It's not your event then, is it? It's not your type of thing. Probably best to stay at home.
Take care, Barry. Take care, Barry. Storms, radios, and cats. Have a good evening. Hey, Friday House, how are you? First thing, wait, I click on, and the first thing I hear is fucking dick.
Yeah, fucking dicks. Yeah.
God damn cussing. All about cussing. It's a great, it seems like such a great event, and I would love if anything to try my damnedest next year to do it, to come out there. I would really love to. I was hoping this year, but unfortunately things didn't work out October wise, because I have all this time off in October, so it'd be perfect. Like I usually get about 3 or 4 weeks off in October, so I figured let's do it. But unfortunately I couldn't do it this year. Perhaps next year, and Urbageddon being a part of it, that'd be great. That'd be fun.
Hello Friday House, that's a new name for the channel, so we say hello.
Yeah, Friday's been on a few times.
Okay.
I believe he's in Texas. I believe Friday's in Texas. He lives in Texas.
New name to me anyway, so hello. Yeah. You gotta love those trolls though. I gotta say, like this person wrote to me, right? The one who did all these like screw you type things, and it did photos of us all as clowns and shit like that, you know, and he wrote to me a week before he started putting out all his hate posts and things.
Yeah.
And he said, and this is a guy, right, who's threatened some urbexes, female urbexes, said he was going to get them when he saw them out in their location and things like that, you know, like physical violence and threats of violence, and a bit stalky, like he was, you know, looking into somebody's kids' names, and there was some weird shit going on, you know. And anyway, so he wrote to me and he said, oh, you know, I feel like I've been a bit of a bad person in the past. I feel like I've said some things I shouldn't have said, and I'd like to put it all behind us. And, you know, like, I know we'll probably never go on and explore, but I thought I'd just like clear the air and, you know, sort this out. And I just said, nah, mate, you're a mental patient.
Yeah.
Because this guy's like, you know, he's just in that level of not really.
Yeah.
So a couple of days go by, and then he just starts with all this shit. So it's like, oh, you want to turn over a new leaf? Now, the way to show me that you've changed is you send that sort of email, and then we don't hear from you in a negative way for like 6 months. In fact, we only hear from you in a positive way for 6 months. And I think, well, he has actually turned over a new leaf. But like 3 days or 2 or 3 days after sending that email, and I went, nah, mate, you're a mental patient. Nah. Which, you know, and then it's like barrages of like this, you're all wankers, and calling everyone names. I mean, like, well, how did you think that I would take you seriously if you can only manage 2 days of peace? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've had to deal with some pretty fucking whacked out. Maybe not as many as you, but I've had to deal with some pretty fucked up people. And I think the most notable is, and you know, some people will go, well, wait a sec, I respect that guy, and that's Sean Manchester. And I'm like, sorry, guys, that guy is off kilter. Like, he literally came after me, cyber attacked me in the whole 9 yards. I'm like, wow, this guy, you know, is defamating my fucking name and everything. I'm like, dude, I don't even know you personally. And he literally went after me. But I've had, you know, people, you know, because I wouldn't share a location, because in fear that if I did, you know, the location would be, you know, totally destroyed. And that's what happened. Somehow the guy got a hold of the location, and it was totally fucking destroyed. And I'm like, wow, this is the reason why I didn't share the location with you, for this reason. And look at you, you know? And it's really sad. These people are out there. They just don't give a shit. You know, they want to destroy something that you know, that is such a, you know, a great thing. You, dude or dudette or whatever, you could be a part of this, but you don't need to be an idiot. You know?
Yeah.
But
well, it's the whole thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, which is better, like creating things and talking about things, or going there and destroying them? I mean, you got to have a freaking screw loose, isn't it? If you think like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to that thing and destroy it so nobody else will be able to enjoy it, and that will stop people. It's like, yeah. There's been people involved in crop circles like that as well, making crop circles. This is what I say. I'm like, I kind of got out because the whole kind of attitude of the people who were like taking over from us, kind of whittling down and not making so many. The people who took over were quite negative.
Yeah.
And they were pulling stunts on us, like trolling us and messing us around and doing, you know, like just being real dicks, you know, trying to cause trouble. And, you know, and then they thought it was like, it was funny to send us on wild goose chases. So I was getting all these like, tip-offs. Oh, there's a crop circle in this location, and I was like, can I see a photo of it? And they would be like, go quiet then, you know. And it's like, oh no, I don't come out unless I see a photo of it, you know. Like everybody's got a camera on their phone now, haven't they? You know what I mean?
And
yeah. And they would just be like trying to send me like halfway across the country on a wild goose chase to see a crop circle that doesn't appear. And that was the circle makers doing that. These new kids on the block, the wankers, jealous of you because you came before them, and they're like, who the hell does he think he is, sort of thing. And it's like,
but you blazed the trail, Matt. I mean, you were doing shit that nobody else was probably doing. And you were being an ass about it. You were being informative. You were educating people, and that's what you're doing. You go to these locations, and you kind of educate people about these locations. You're not an asshat about it. You don't go in there. You don't destroy it. You don't fucking, it's not about the money. It's not about this. You go in there because it's interesting to you, and you it's like, oh, hey, this is neat. I've never seen this place before. Let's show people.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a whole different set of people who watch these videos and think, oh, let's go around there and we can start smashing it up.
Yeah,
and they get enjoyment. I don't know whether it's a physical thing, whether they like swinging hammers around or swinging things at walls or kicking things, and maybe they've got anger issues and they need to get it out of their system. It's like their release is like destroying something. But yeah, weird. And you get the ones who do the same sort of thing online. They're kind of like, oh, we'll have a pop at you online. It's not constructive though. I mean, like, where's that going to end up? Imagine if everyone in society thought that it was a great idea to burn buildings down. Well, we'd all be living in caves, wouldn't we? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like these people are the minority in society, and they're outcasts, and probably for very good reason. They don't have many friends, and it's kind of sad, really. But they do exist, and they live in this like self-generated bubble of negativity that they kind of cast around themselves.
Exactly. I'm just reading the chat there. Man. Yeah, exactly. Dinkum says trolls on a whole other level. Exactly.
Yeah, I've had my fun over the years,
and I can attest to it, because I came on your lives a couple times, and I was getting fucking shit ordered to my email. I'm like, holy fuck. I'm not even in the UK, and I'm still getting like these food orders from the UK. Like, hey, if you want to order, you want to fucking Uber it all the way over here, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's so retarded. Like, I mean, you're never going to get the food. That's all you're going to get is like some angry shop owner, like, being pissed off because he's just wasted a load of food, which is, again, that's very destructive.
Exactly.
And such a waste of food and money, like some poor guy who's just trying to run a business is just like, he spend out loads of money on food, which is kind of stupid. I know they should not make that food until they've got the money out of you. But some do.
Yeah.
They kind of running quick and they just like start making the food. I mean, that's just destructive behavior. But we know the people who are doing it, and they're quite destructive people. In general, we know who they are. They're very destructive people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be a problem. But I find it incredibly antisocial, and I don't think there's good things going to happen to these people in their lives if they just keep behaving like that. Like there's nothing good is going to come out of that for them in their lives.
Sternick saying Ben Emlyn Jones arranged to meet one of his trolls at a Watford car park face to face. Ben showed up, but the troll did not. Go figure. Hey, Lorenzo. Go figure. I mean, that's exactly it. These guys are big online, but then when it comes to a face-to-face meeting,
nah, well, they're not into that. They're just into wasting your time, aren't they? And yanking your chain. I would never agree to meet a fucking troll who was winding me up. I'd be like, nah, fuck off. I'm not going to waste my time on that shit. I mean, unfortunately, I've suffered a number of them who've gone out on explores with me, and they've been wankers whilst out on the explore too. They weren't actually, like they were, you know, they, yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
like I've had people who were sort of claiming to be my brother, and they're like, "You're my brother. You're like my brother. You are." They were taking me to locations where there was fuck all there. You know what I mean? And it was like happening again and again and again. And I'm like, this guy's enjoying seeing me wasting all my petrol money here, driving to the middle of fucking nowhere where there's nothing, and then we're gonna drive back again with nothing. You know, and it's happening again and again and again with this person. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I would say, like, you know, do you want to chip in for the petrol money? And they would go, knock, getting all angry and narky about it. You know, and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
these people do exist, which is why I'm a lot more, you know,
Vigilant. Yeah. You have to
vigilant
be.
now against
to
it.
be.
You know,
You have to be.
yeah,
It's sad, but you have to be.
yeah.
You know? It really is. It's a fucking joke. It's a pain in the ass that these people do exist, and yeah, I mean, I think we've said it all when it comes to that. Anyways, Matt, I'm gonna end this sucker up.
I need to go and get shaved and have a bath and get ready for tomorrow for the early morning drive.
You need to prep for tomorrow, and you know what? Enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it. Have fun.
Yeah.
I wish I was there. I wish I was going to be there with you guys. I really do. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So
we're going to have a great time. No trolls. It'll be wonderful. And if they do turn up, they'll be shown the door.
Hey, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Good stuff, man. Enjoy it, buddy. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And,
thanks for having us on, and thanks everybody in chat.
Thanks everybody for joining and showing up this evening. And if you're going to Urbageddon tomorrow, hey, have fun. And release some videos, do some lives. I want to see this stuff firsthand. I'm sure there'll be a few people live streaming it tomorrow. So
there will be, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Dink, you know, you and I have to show up next year, eh? By the way. We need to have an Aussie representation and a Canadian representation there. All right, guys, take care. Thank you, Matt. Take care, buddy.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
See ya.